What do I want to talk about? I want to talk to you about how I started smoking and ultimately how I made the transformation to go from a 10-year long nicotine addiction with a bunch of other really poor habits like eating junk food, social media addictions, pornography addictions, low self esteem, self hate. It really all ties into the same. I want to tell you what steps it took for me to now become a professional fighter, have a physique that, like, I guess you could say, not, it sounds cringe, right? As much as it's kind of cringe to be like, I have my dream body, like, I know, but it matters. Let's be real. It does matter. It matters when you feel good in the body that you are. I think it really does change your life, and it also is the foundation of the self development in your life, right? Like, I truly believe that in order to make big changes, here are the steps. Step number one is you gotta drop all of your vices. Step number two is you need to highly invest in yourself when it comes to making a physical transformation. And then step number three is to take that to the next level and start achieving things. Like for me, it was Muay Thai, so wanting to fight Muay Thai professionally, stack wins, not just say, oh, you fought Muay Thai, right? At first, when I first started, I was like, I want to try this experience. But when I realized how much of an eye opener it was for me in terms of what truly matters in my life, because in my opinion, fighting is one of the most eye opening experiences that you can have. It's one of the realest moments that you can have. It really shows you who you are and the types of thoughts and that you have during the experience or before the experience and after the experience. It leads to tremendous of course physical and mental but spiritual growth, right? So let's go back to the three steps of transformation, if you will. So the number one step I believe in if you want to make a big transformation is you need to let go of all your vices. So obviously one of the biggest ones for me was smoking cigarettes, but I had a lot of other poor habits too, you know? Like I started smoking cigarettes at 13, but I also started drinking quite heavily at 13 as well. I never had like a problem with alcohol. I guess like some friends of mine or peers when they would drink, it would seriously impact them negatively. They would be extremely self-destructive on it, and they also had somewhat of like a tolerance to it, or not tolerance, but like an addiction to it. They're alcoholics, right? Like today, they're alcoholics. So a lot of these people I had to cut ties with, and that was never really the case for me. For me, alcohol was just like I drank a lot. Don't get me wrong. Like when I was 14, 15. Okay, so backstory. I grew up in Dubai and Qatar, and in Qatar, alcohol is illegal. And the only way that you can get access to alcohol is through having a booze dealer, which is basically just like a taxi driver who imports like really cheap Indian vodka, wraps it in a newspaper, puts it on a receipt, and sells it to you at like a 300% markup. And it tastes like nail polish remover. The what we would get, it was called either you get the vodka, which is Romanov that you get for 150 real, or you get King Roberts, which is the whiskey. And god damn, was that shit nasty. But there were like drinking was like a really big part of growing up, right? And there were times when I was like 15 and 16, and like most nights out, I would drink about a third of those bottles. But there were times where I would just down the whole bottle myself, and I wouldn't even be that drunk. You know what I mean? Like that's how high of a tolerance I had physically to it. But anyways, this is a bit of a tangent. I think the number one most important thing that you need to do in order to move your life forward is you need to drop your vices. So for me, it was cigarettes. For me, it was drinking. And let me tell you, to go back to the drinking, man, it's that I did enjoy it as a teenager, but when I became older, I stopped enjoying it. And it got to the point where I was still drinking because I was in these social situations and it would just make me feel low and depressed and inhibit my own ability just to just to be. And so I ended up cutting out booze maybe at like the age of, I stopped enjoying it at like the age of 21, 22, like while I was still in university. And then when I got like my first job, everybody would go out drinking after hitting sales targets at the end of the month and whatever. And sometimes it was okay, but there were a lot of moments where I was drinking and I was like, this is just making me fucking miserable. And that's when I started having the realizations that like booze is not it for me. It actually came quite easily and quite naturally for me to give that one up. I guess the biggest challenge was just like in social situations, especially with people that you don't know that well, it acts as a social lubricant. And so with work, more specifically, there are a lot of moments when I would start a new job, I was just like, all right, well, you kind of have to go drinking with your coworkers because that's just the thing to do if you want to kind of start blending in, right? Anyways, I've come to the realizations that this type of lifestyle is that 100% not it for me. First of all, I don't want to booze with you, bro. Second of all, I don't want to do these jobs where I sell my soul and my time for money. I would much rather be completely broke working with whoever you are, the viewer. If you feel like you're getting value out of this, like I'd much rather work with you and make less money for years than sell my soul and do something that is completely unaligned with my cause. Damn, this is a lot of tangents, bro. But at least I'm keeping it real with you. Some other poor habits that I had was... Yeah, we're getting real vulnerable here, bro. So, fucking the uppers, dude, like pills. When you're in university, Adderall is like easily accessible. Adderall, Vyvanse, Ritalin, that sort of shit. And I knew in university that like it's just like, especially like, unless you want to be like a fucking doctor, you're very passionate about saving people's lives and their healthcare. That's like a different thing, right? But most degrees are useless, right? It's just a matter of like getting you through the system, the conveyor belt of becoming a good citizen NPC. And so I mean, I kind of knew that at the time, right? I just kind of went through the process just so I could socialize, party, have a good time, move to Canada, right? That was like a stepping stone for me as well. I was able to move to Canada through my education there. That was the biggest thing, because before that I was living in France and Europe, and that also is not it. That's no place to live, at least for where I was, and also where I'm at right now. I don't want to live there. It's a whole different story though. But I was the thing that changed my brain the most is probably when I would like take really high doses of Adderall or Vyvanse and then just like study all fucking day. Of course, I'm taking a smoke break every 30 minutes while I'm at the fucking university library cramming an essay or just studying for a test or whatever it is. And after like 12 hours of just like super intense studying, I would go back home, be like, I'd feel accomplished. I'd be like, yo, I just fucking wrote like 20 pages of an essay. I just studied this entire fucking unit for this class. I'm gonna crush the exam. I'm just like, all right, now it's time to turn the engine off because I'm just so fucking stimulated. I remember like the Vyvanse I was doing, I forget the dosage. I think it was 54 mg, which is really fucking high. I forget the counts, man. There's so many different brands, and anyways, so it's basically meth in a pill, right? Just pharmaceutical grade meth. And I'd be like, all right, now it's time to turn the engine off. I'd roll a big ass fucking joint, smoke the fuck out of that shit. I was so paranoid. I was so fucking paranoid, right? And I would just be like in this fucking tweaker state where I'd go back home and then I'm just like, all right, now to like continue entertaining myself, I would like play online poker while tweaking and being high. Just have like this insane dopamine rush. And yeah, I mean, like it's embarrassing to admit, but like, yeah, while I was just like tweaking out, I'd be like, all right, now it's time to like jack off to porn. And so that way I can go to sleep, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. And dude, let me tell you, like that kind of stimulation on your brain when you're under all these substances and you're doing all this fucking dopaminic activity, it fries your brain, bro. It fries your brain. It most certainly changed my brain. I can tell you that with 100% certainty that like it's changed who I am. Um, but yeah, I guess that's just what happens when you abuse drugs, when you abuse behaviors. I think this video was supposed to be me talking about how transformation starts with breaking your vices first. But ended up being just like all the poor habits and the vices that I had that I let go of before I became before I decided to just like quit everything and start like an athletic journey, a fitness journey. Yeah, I guess I basically just like confessed to you. It's not a confession. It's just a matter of like you getting to know what my story is. I'm not going into this much detail here because this is just like my first step in terms of sharing this. But yeah, I guess like these are some of the poor habits that I had. I can tell you like out of all these drugs and behaviors and the gambling and the fucking social media and the food binging and the fucking watching porn, all that shit, like I can tell you by far the worst substance for me, it seems like the most harmless one, but it was nicotine. It was smoking, it was vaping, and it's because it just like the relationship I had with it, it would just zap my brain so easily. It was so easily accessible. I would just reach for my fucking vape in my pocket, and I would hit it like every 15 minutes, even when I'm like in a place where you're not supposed to be vaping, like in the fucking metro station or at the office. I'd like discreetly be vaping just 20, like as long as I'm awake, I'm vaping. It was the first thing I did upon waking up. It was the last thing I did when I went to sleep. And I had a hit every 15 minutes. And when it was like an area where I could just be like not in public, like in my own room, I'm basically just hitting it the entire time. Just the entire time. That's how I worked my way up all the way to 2 Juul pods a day. Even though when I was smoking cigarettes, also I was getting closer to like 2 packs of cigarettes a day, which is fucked. But basically, it's because I was just so, yeah, I was just using it to like numb all my emotions, whether they were positive, whether they were negative. Whenever I felt anything, I would just smoke or vape as a way to just like deal with the feeling. And so when I quit at the age of 23, it was like you remove the emotional band-aid and I had to fucking face exactly who I was for the first time in my life. Like, I didn't have an emotional band-aid for the first time ever, and I was just like, this is it. I'm never going back. I'm gonna face whatever fucking bullshit I gotta face. And so I did. The funny thing also is like I remember going to the pharmacy. So the day that I quit, I went through 2 Juul pods and it wasn't even 11:30 a.m. And so I went to the pharmacy and I told the pharmacist, I was like, hey, I'm ready to quit. And he was like, when's the last time you smoked? I was just like, 15 minutes ago. I went through 2 Juul pods. And he looked at me and he was just like, dude, you're not ready. You're not ready to quit. And I took that as a challenge. To me, it was like, oh yeah, like, you don't think I'm ready? All right, watch me, motherfucker. Because I really was determined to make a change. I went through so much pain and I was just like, in order to get over this pain, I need to face even more pain. I need to face really what's under the emotional band-aid, and I need to just make terms with it. I need to feel it, make terms with it, and then move on, and now I can build a foundation. Without quitting all of your self-destructive habits, it's going to be very difficult to build new habits. I feel like it comes hand in hand, right? Like you quit your addiction. That's step one. And then shortly after step one, you very quickly need to replace it with something else. To me, it was fitness, it was sports, it was learning how to love myself, because there's just like a lot of self-hatred. And then also like fulfilling this, I don't want to say fantasy, right? But I was able to envision myself and like a higher version of myself, a higher level character. And it's like, I know I can achieve this. I know it's feasible. And so I pursued it relentlessly until I got there. And I guess the reason why I'm making this video is perhaps so I can share with you that like you can do that shit too. If you're able to envision like a higher version of yourself and there are things that are holding you back, it's really just a matter of it's hard. It's simple. It's simple. It's extremely simple. I never said it was easy though. But it's very simple. It's just you need to let go of your destructive habits. You need to replace your negative addictions with positive ones. Anyways, that's my story. If you need accountability or somebody to speak with about this sort of stuff, and somebody to really hold you through the entire process of quitting the self-destructive habits, replacing it with fitness, as well as, I mean, I've quit. When was this? I quit on May 13th, 2020. Today is October 13th, 2025. It's been like it's been 5 years and a half. You know, almost 6 years of me completely turning my life around. If you need help or handholding or any kind of coaching, whether it's related to fitness, whether it's related to nutrition, whether it's related to rebuilding your cardio back up, whether it's related to pinpointing the person that you want to become, anything, honestly, anything. Like if it's just like if like the fact that you're watching this yet, if you're watching this to the end and it resonates and you want to take action and you need help, like this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, is to help you. That would be the most fulfilling thing for me because I've had tremendous success in my transformation process. And I know with 100% certainty that it's possible for you as well, especially if you're relating to this. And I want to help you do it. I want to help you do it. So let's fucking do it. Let's do it. That's what I'm offering right now, man. Okay, this is a 17-minute long video where I kind of just rambled, but kept it as real as I could with you. If you want to reach out to me, you can DM me directly on Instagram. All right, peace.